We're going to go ahead and start. It is 11:30. I'm a time stickler, so I'm always on time. Cotton Patch in a moment is going to be passing out some peach cobbler and ice cream to your seats, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. But I hope everyone's having an amazing day, and I'd like to welcome you today to the quarterly membership luncheon for June, which is the financial wellness. I want to thank GEUS back there for filming today. You might want to put a smile on your face because you never know if you're going to be on camera. And a big thanks to Cotton Patch for a great lunch. I haven't ate yet, but I can smell it. And before I forget, I want to let you know that our new directories that we do twice a year with your business in it is on the tables over there. We get 5,000 copies twice a year. So we have boxes that we can give you, or you can just take a whole big stack if you want to. And then our maps were just delivered yesterday. Some of you probably have ads in there, but those also, we have 10,000 copies of those. They last for 2 years, and you can always come by and get a box of those. If you are an advertiser in there, you should have gotten a box yesterday in the mail for your customers and clients, but you can always take a bunch of those if you want. More than one, because we have lots. So before we begin, I'm going to introduce our new members that we have today. I'm going to have ambassadors go ahead and come up to the stage. Who's first?
Hello, welcome to the Chamber Quarterly Luncheon. I'm Debbie Sickles. I'm owner and agent of Independent Insurance Group of North Texas, here to service your needs if you need that. We don't talk about insurance much anymore because it's pretty bad these days, but anyway, I'm a proud ambassador to the Greenville Chamber of Commerce. I'm here to introduce Nissan of Greenville, Bobby Hodges. Could you please stand? Thank you. Bobby Hodges is the sales manager at Nissan of Greenville, newly renovated, beautiful floor, beautiful. I think you could probably eat in their service department. So they sell new and pre-owned vehicles. They live here locally. They do care about the community, as you see, and they've already had their ribbon cutting. They do sales, services, and parts at the local store here. And so you want to go see them for all your car needs. Nissan is a good vehicle. I would almost ask anybody in the room want to raise their hand, but I know a lot of people own Nissans. They are owned by Sonic Automotive, and they have over 150 stores across the country, and the Greenville store is rated in the top 10% for customer satisfaction with Nissan and with Sonic Automotive. Welcome to the Chamber.
Hello everybody, and I guess this is insurance introductions. I'm Liz Patterson with Prestige Benefits Group. We also write auto, home, commercial, and I do employee benefits and individual benefits and Medicare. So anyway, we share business with other insurance agencies, and I have the privilege to introduce two from State Farm, which is Penny Perkins' office, and it's Ben Pineda. Stand up, if you don't mind. Welcome, Ben Pineda. And Jorge Rojo. Ben's been in the insurance business since 2012, so he's experienced, and Jorge's been in the insurance business 2 years, but they're both bilingual, and that's an added plus in this area. So contact them at Penny Perkins, and everybody knows where Penny Perkins' office is. But anyway, congratulations and welcome to the Chamber.
Hi, I'm Tracy Fenton with Britex Bubbles LLC, and no, we're not an insurance agency. We do commercial cleaning, anything from offices 5,000 square feet up to our current client. We've got one client in industrial with facilities over 1 million square feet. We don't clean all of that. We do post-construction as well. Anyway, I'm really up here to introduce Macy Moore, who is a mobile notary, and it's great to have another one in the chamber, and she's with Superior Notary Services. She personally has been in the business profession for 5 years. Superior Notary Services have been around for 20 years. She will do everything from power of attorney to realtor staff. I know there are realtors in here, hiding probably somewhere, Holly, and she also does wills as well, which is a very specialised area, so that's a skill. Okay, and welcome to the chamber.
Hi, I'm Terry Thomas with ServPro, another proud ambassador as well. And Bobby, I'm going to give you a little punch out here. I've got a new Nissan truck. I've owned 7 Nissan vehicles actually in a row. But I had 2 great recent experiences with Bobby and his crew down there, so thank you. I've got the easiest introduction today. I get to talk about Cotton Patch. I don't have to say anything, you're eating, right? Delicious, delicious food. Thank you all very much. But I would like to say thanks to Alicia. Alicia's the new general manager at Cotton Patch. She started there, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. It was recently in November been promoted to general manager. Congratulations. She's got Amanda and Danielle with her today. And if you don't have them on your weekly or monthly dinner trip, get on it, because you won't regret it, as of just like today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Lisa Hill with Magic Travel, your friendly local travel agent. So if you're ready for a summer vacation, hit me up. I'm here to introduce today Crystal Hoffman with Kelly Services. Chamber members, and many of you are probably familiar with Kelly Services. They provide staffing solutions. They're all over the country. Crystal is the marketing manager for the offices here in Greenville and in Longview. And she told me the neatest little tidbit about Kelly Services that I did not know, that they began during World War II when all of the men had gone off to war and the industries needed women to work, and they were Kelly girls. And then when the war was over, they had done such a great job that they continued the service to try and fill in needs where those could be met by women in the workforce. They represent everyone now. You don't have to be a woman to be placed with Kelly Services. Their office here in Greenville is located on Traders Road, and welcome to the chamber.
Hello, I'm David Weiler, broker, a real estate broker associate with Century 21 Patterson Agency. I think I made a new friend today already. His name is Rich Cavness. Rich, would you stand up? Rich and his wife Lydia own the Cavness Insurance Agency, where they represent American National Insurance. They specialize in agribusiness. That means they experts in insuring farms, ranches, hobby farms, commercial auto insurance. They insure crops and animals. They really know what they're doing. And they have a motto I like, and it's called "Land is Our Legacy." If you have needs, be sure to contact Rich.
Hi, I'm Becky Rogers, I guess. I own Simplified Professional Organizing, so all your closets, garage, sheds, backyards, bedrooms, kitchens, all your needs. I have the privilege of introducing Andrea Ivins here from Paradigm Home Health. Paradigm provides compassionate, high-quality medical care in the comfort of your home. Our skilled team offers services like nursing, therapy, and chronic condition management tailored to each patient's needs. We are here to support health, healing, and independence right where you feel most at ease. So that's Andrea.
Good morning, I'm Violet Atkins with ServPro, and I do work for all the insurance agencies. And today I'd love to introduce our newest member with HVAC Services. It is All Systems Go, or also known as ASG. They are a family-owned and operated business owned by women and veterans in that family. And they are here locally in Commerce, and they'll take on any job anywhere up and down the 380 corridor. They have 15 years of experience behind them, and as of today, they will give any chamber member any sort of HVAC system that you might need 10% off. For any chamber member, if you would just tell them that you are a chamber member when you call them, give Larry a call. He's here. That's our friend over there. Thanks, Larry. Thanks for joining.
Good afternoon. My name is Dennis Carpenter. I'm with Wildcatter, and I have my pleasure to introduce Terry Conley, and she's with Firewheel Ministries. And Firewheel Ministries has, thank you, Terry. Traditionally concentrated on women's ministries, but now that they are transitioning into transitional housing for people that have been in abusive situations or addictive situations, and they would like to move out of that. So if you have a heart for helping in that regard, you please feel free to call Firewheel Ministries and Terry Conley. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Byron Jackson with Blue Nail Roofing and Construction, kind of self-explanatory. Real quick on that though, I've been on a lot of roofs the last 2 weeks that were not damaged. They did not receive damage from the weather. Guess what the last 3 contractors told them? Oh, you gotta do it now, you gotta do it now, let's file a claim. Sorry, you gotta file a claim right now. Give us a call, we'll help you keep the roof you have if it wasn't damaged. But as Greenville grows, we're getting a lot more houses, a lot more businesses coming to town. So if you're driving down 30, it's getting worse. You're always stuck in traffic. You don't have to pick up your phone. Instead, take a look at one of the lovely, awesome billboards that are on 30 between here and Dallas. These are all produced and supplied by Primary Media. I can't read my own writing now. Primary Media, Outdoor, and Advertising. So they'll help you, Nissan, State Farm, Cotton Patch, Kelly Services. Everybody that's moving into Greenville needs to know about your company, what's the best way to do it safely and permanently with a billboard. Give it up for Paradigm Media, Outdoor, and Advertising.
So all the new members that are here today, if you don't have a plaque and you would like a plaque or even want us to take a picture with you, if you'll stay afterwards, we will get that to you and get a picture. Our main course sponsor today is L3 Harris, and so we want to thank them. And I have Candace Bernard who is going to speak.
Good afternoon. Craig could not be with you today, so he did me. But just wanted to say a couple words from L3 Harris. If you haven't heard of L3 Harris before, we are the largest employer in Hunt County. We are an aircraft modifier and integrator, which means we're not an OEM. We don't build airplanes. We modify them for reconnaissance and surveillance. Out there protecting the troops. So for the noble cause for us, that's really what brings us to work every day. So do want to let everybody know we do have 70 open recs. So we do see, work in the future and continuing to grow. We did deliver this year already over 40 airplanes to the warfighter, because that is who, we support every day. Wanted to let everybody know that we are supporting several engagement events coming up. So definitely excited to be part of, the Hunt County Fair recently, along with the Leadership Gap. And for the Rocket Bash, we are going to have an employee from the facility get to count down to the fireworks. So that's something that we're doing out there. Also part of the Child Advocacy Center auction and the solar car for the robotics team for GISD. Gordon is here today, and his team in manufacturing actually helped him with a windshield in manufacturing. So they needed something that could be turned around very quickly, and so they prototyped it, and we were able to get that put on the solar car before they went out to their race in Australia. So the kids at GISD got to go do that. So anyway, we are very excited to be a part of the chamber, and we appreciate all y'all's support.
Thank you, Candace. Thank you all three. And by the way, when she talked about JASD and the solar car, it is the only school district in the United States going to Australia to perform, to compete. Our table sponsor today is State Farm Insurance. Penny Perkins, State Farm, I have been here to speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Pineda, and just to be honest, I wasn't expecting to come up here and speak. Penny bamboozled me to come here. She knew how to get to me, how to get me here with a meal. So George said, "Yeah, you're speaking today." So, well, I'm a preacher, so they thought that this would be easy for me, but it's never easy to be behind a lectern or a pulpit. But State Farm, obviously, I don't think anybody will say today, I don't know what State Farm is, but State Farm is just the #1 insurer in the nation. We insure a lot of homes, obviously, in the state of Texas and all over. Obviously, we've been in the news for some things that have been out of our control. But obviously, as we insure a lot of homes, our name's going to be out there in the news. But the one thing that I can say that I admire about State Farm is the family environment that we have in our offices and in the corporate office as well. I've been in that environment as well. And the type of policies that we do are your, run-of-the-mill auto, home, but what's deep in our hearts is the life insurance. And we just want to encourage you, if anybody does not have life insurance and you have your insurance individual that you work with, ask them about life insurance. And I think that's something that we need to be more aware of from an insurance perspective. And so I just appreciate all the insurance agencies here, the brokers and whatnot, and I just want to say thank you for allowing us to be a part of the chamber. And I've been here 3 years, George has been here maybe a little bit more, and I just love Greenville. I mean, I love the town, I love the area. Used to be in Garland, came over here, and people are complaining about how things are changing here, and I don't know, I like it. So I love being a part of Greenville, and George will continue to be a part of this group here. And so if you ever need anything from us, have any questions, you just need any guidance or anything that you think that we can help you with, we're there at 2814 Terrell Road, right across from the old Whataburger. Hey, we're getting a new Whataburger. Yay! But we're by the old Whataburger. So again, Ben with State Farm, George, thank you so much.
And lastly, we have Dick with Blackjack Disposal. Is going to come up and say a few words. He also brought a display.
Hello, I'm Dick Demeen with Blackjack Disposal. I'm one of the co-owners there. And I just wanted to take a minute today to talk about recycling. We pick up on our routes about 300 tons. I left my notes over there. I made a lot of notes and left them on the table. So. All right, we pick up about 300 tons of recycling each month. And unfortunately, only about 150 of those tons end up being recycled. The other half goes to the landfill. And while we have some people that are just simply using their recycle carts as a second trash cart, we really can't do too much about that. A lot of people want to do the right thing. They want to recycle, but they fall into a group of what we call the wish cyclers. We in Greenville recycle 7 different types of items. We have chipboard, which is like cereal boxes or cheese boxes, something like that. We have PET, which is your clear water bottles. We do HDPE color, which is a detergent bottle or an antifreeze bottle, something like that. And we do HDPE clear, which is a milk jug or an iced tea jug, something like that. We also do aluminum cans, and we do tin cans. And the last item we do is cardboard boxes. If it's not one of those items, we're not going to recycle it. It's going to end up going to the landfill. So we see a lot of stuff coming through our recycling facility. We see all kinds of plastic items, garden hoses, air filters for air conditioners, tree branches, grass clippings, which they can be recycled, but there's no facility around here for us to recycle those items through our sorting facility. A lot of styrofoam, again, can be recycled, but there's no recycling outlet in the DFW area for styrofoam. A lot of clothes, a lot of tennis shoes, a lot of plastic bags full of various things. Sometimes these are recyclable items. If you have items like one of these 7 items, and they're in a plastic bag, it really slows down our sorters because they have to break those bags open. And then they have, sometimes that plastic bag can get caught in the sorting equipment. So that kind of slows us down, so it's best if it's just left loose in there. And that is kind of what I was wanting to talk about is this wish cycling is people have something, they know it can be recycled, and they hope and wish that it would be, and they throw it in the cart, and that just ends up slowing us down. So I just ask everybody to remember these 7 items and try to stay within these guidelines. So, yes?
Glass bottles.
Glass bottles. We want to recycle glass. Unfortunately, there's no place in DFW to recycle glass. Yes?
I just wondering, what about the lids, the caps?
They're fine. Yeah, they're no problem. All right. Well, thank you very much. I hope this was educational and brief.
Thanks, Nick. So we want to recognize our business investors in the room today. Of course, our platinum investor is L3 Harris. Our gold investor, Alliance Bank. Sapphire investors, GEUS and Nissan of Greenville. Our silver investors, Hunt Regional Healthcare, Red River Credit Union, Cornerstone Insurance, Scienceco, and Wildcatter Realty Partners. Bronze investors, Atmos Energy and D. Earls Tax Service. And then I have just a few more individuals that I would like to recognize. If you can stand or wave when I call your name. So the chamber employees, we have Kaylin Caldwell, Director of Events and Public Relations, which put this on today. Hannah Bywater, Director of Membership and Marketing. We have our chamber board members here, Paul Painter with Alliance Bank, David Wyland with Century 21 Patterson Agency, Jimmy Dickey with GEUS, Vince Patterson with Prestige Integra Insurance Services, Mayor Jared Ransom, our chamber ambassadors, Byron Jackson with Blue Nail Roofing, you've met some of these already, Tracy Fenham with Britex Bubbles Cleaning and Janitorial Services, Rich Cabinis with Cabinis Insurance Agency, David Wyland with Century 21 Patterson Agency, Chris Mangle with GEUS, Debbie Sickles with Insurance Group of North Texas, Crystal Hoffman, Kelly Services, Lisa Hill with Magic Travel, Andrea Ivins with Paradigm Healthcare, there's a lot of them, Liz Patterson, Prestige Integra Insurance Services, Dennis Carpenter, Wildcatter Realty Partners, Terry Thomas with ServPro, Becky Rogers with Simplify Professional Organizer, Liza and Trondo Griffith with Red River Credit Union, Violet Atkins with ServPro, and then Lou Ann Dickens with Greenville Boutique and Gifts. I also want to recognize a couple more people. We do have the mayor, like I said, Jerry Ransom with the city of Greenville. And we have Holly Gray here with the Board of Development. And then I have one other special thing I want to say. I want to give a shout out to this year's leadership class with the chambers. Some of these are graduating in next week, by the way. So they'll be the graduate class of 2025. And some of these participants are in the room today. And if you could stand when I call your name. So I have Blake Taylor with Alliance Bank. Byron Jackson, stay standing. Byron Jackson with Blue Nail Roofing. Y'all sit down. Micah Harris with GEUS. Hannah Bywater, the Greenville Chamber. And I guess that's all that's in the room today, but there's a whole bunch of them. There's about 20. And I just want you to know that this group that are here today raised almost $56,000 during the past 9 months. And they're purchasing refrigerated food lockers for Hunt County Shared Ministries for those with food insecurities, allowing families to pick up food after hours, because some families work and they still can't afford, to purchase their food. So they're going to be able to go to the lockers, put in a code, open it up, and get their food out, and it's refrigerated, perishables and non-perishables. So can you please give them a hand, because they did a fantastic job. And we want to thank you for just helping others in our community. So it's time to start the program. Let's see if I'm on time. Almost. I have 5 more minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and start. At this time, I'd like to introduce Carson Lake with Edward Jones, who's been speaking with about business owner exit planning.
Thank you very much. So first and foremost, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce, Shelley, Hannah, and Kaylin for the opportunity for me to be able to speak with you all today. Today, I only have 15 minutes, so I'm going to get right into it. Today, I'm going to be speaking to you about business owner exit planning. Start with the end in mind. Any good plan, we're starting with the end, figuring out where we need to go before we start going. And I'm going to start with just 2 stories. So, first story, you have a man, and he decides he wants to go to New York City on vacation next week. So next week comes, and he gets in his car and drives east. He hits the coast, decides to start driving north. At some point, he sees some signs that says New York City. And he gets there, he finds a hotel. The one he wanted, it didn't have any vacancy available. So he goes to the next one, he gets a Motel 6, he's in New York City. He decides he wants to go to a Broadway show. Unfortunately, it was sold out. So he's gonna go to a Yankees game so that he can see the Rangers beat the Yankees in their home turf. Well, he got to go, but he got some nosebleeds, right? And so then there's another man from the second story. So he decides next week he wants to go to New York City. So he sits down and he says, all right, I'm gonna leave it on this day, at this time, I'm gonna get there then. I want this hotel, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a reservation. I want to see that Broadway show, and so I'm gonna go ahead and buy a ticket right now. I'd like to be able to go to see the Yankees get beat by the Rangers. I'm gonna get a seat right on third base, right? And so you can imagine the one that sat down and did some planning about when he's gonna get there, what he's gonna do, and go ahead and plan everything out. Got a lot more out of his trip than the one that just decided to head east once he's ready. The same thing goes with any good financial plan, any good plan in general, whether it's a vacation, whether it's trying to plan for retirement, or in this case, trying to be able to exit your business in the way that you need to be able to exit it that matches your needs. And so I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Carson Lake. I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones. I'm a Christian, husband, father, and financial advisor in that order. Now, I can work with people in 2 different ways. One way I can be someone's broker. Someone comes to me with their 401k and says, hey, I need this invested in a way that matches my needs, my risk tolerance. I want this to get this general rate of return. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to build the best diversified portfolio to be able to match that person's needs. I could have someone that just says, hey, I need a CD to be able to keep my money safe. My business has excess amounts of cash available, and I'm going to need it in 30 days, but I want to get some interest. So I get them into a money market. I'm going to always do my best to get them that best investment as a broker. The way I prefer to operate is as a financial planner. So I am your broker. I'm going to be able to get you into the best investment possible, but I'm going to look at your long-term goals, where you're at now compared to where you need to be. And I'm going to be able to give you actionable advice to be able to push the needle and give the best recommendation to be able to get you where you need to go while including every single possible detail that accounts within that. So, back up one more. So what is a business plan, exit planning? Now you can go. So any good story is going to have a who, what, when, where, why, and how. And so what is exit planning, and why should I even be considering it? Well, when should I start exit planning? little hint, you should start right now. And then, if it sounds great to me, how do I go about putting together an exit plan? We're going to give you 5 steps to be able to do exactly that. So, what is an exit plan? So it's a proactive process that looks at your personal, financial, as well as business needs, and make sure that those are being addressed. And I'd like to point at this bottom line right here. Helps an owner confidently exit a privately held company how and when they want. I want to add something to that. Any good plan should be flexible and should have contingencies. What if something changes? What if something unexpectedly forces me out of my business? Do I have a plan, or is that plan flexible? Can I change it? Your exit plan should, otherwise you're setting yourself up for failure. So, advantages of comprehensive and effective strategy. I want to point out the first word in each of these lines. Articulate, identify, address, provide. Understand your needs. So, articulate your goals after the transaction. Life after the sale. Are you going and creating a new business? Are you deciding it's time for retirement? If so, are you going on vacations? Well, what are you doing during that time? How much is it going to cost to be able to do that? From the sale of your business, are you going to be able to provide for that on its own? Or are there other additional needs you may have? Identify and prepare a successor. Is this a legacy plan for you? Are you going to be passing this on to your children so that they can be able to have a great opportunity like you've created? Or are you selling this to the highest bidder and being able to make sure that you're getting the highest dollar you possibly can? If you do sell it to that highest bidder, those contracts that you worked really hard to be able to get, that you really set those people up for success, what if the person you sold it to doesn't care about the business as much as you do and doesn't follow through on those promises? Are you going to be held legally responsible? When you do sell that, what's your take home? How much are you going to be paying in taxes? These need to be identified before you go and say, I'm just going to sell my business. That's part of an exit strategy. Provide contingency plans should that owner be forced to step away. I'll share a stat with you in a moment, but oftentimes people aren't leaving on their timeline. They're not leaving when they want. Sometimes things come up. I'll address that here in a moment. So, why start business planning now? Well, today is going to impact your tomorrow. That person that's going to New York City, what they do today to be able to set themselves up for success is going to impact that trip. What you do today and your strategy is going to impact your exit from your business. It's going to impact your retirement. It's going to impact your tomorrow. Your today will always impact your tomorrow. Don't wait for tomorrow to come before you start planning around it. Plan for your tomorrow today. Now, this is my one scary slide I have for you. That I don't like to be all doom and gloom, but this is the one. Doom and gloom slide. So 80 to 90% of business owners' net worth is in their business, and that is fine and good. If you are able to liquidate or sell or transfer your business and it is able to provide for your needs, then fantastic, right? But what if there's a 4 out of 5 chance that you're not able to sell that business? What if something happens? Disability, AI starts to take over your business, tariffs increase your cost of goods. What if these things impact your business and you're forced to be able to exit? Our studies show that there's a coin flip, 50-50 chance, that half the time people are forced to exit their business and not on their timeline. Being able to have an exit strategy and being able to have something that's flexible allows for you to be able to plan around this. All right, Carson, fine, I get it. I need a bit exit strategy. Let's go ahead and get it moving. What do I do? Well, I'm glad you asked. I have 5 steps for you, so we can make this easy. So first thing you need to do is you need to be able to have a team around you. Next one, please. Right there in the middle, you're going to see financial advisor. I want you to take out that financial advisor. I want you to put in Carson and I. So we are going to be building people around you. So remember, we may face some taxes when we sell our business. So we're going to go speak to DRL over there, and we're going to say, if I sell this business as a liquidation to the highest bidder at this price, how much am I paying in taxes? We're going to need to worry about cash flow with that banker. So we're going to go talk to SBDC. We're going to say, look, I need to make sure that I'm keeping this much cash liquid, and I need to keep this money flowing. Here's how it's coming out. We're going to have a legal professional, so that when you do sell to that highest bidder, you are not on the hook if they are going to be not fulfilling the promises that you've made in the contract that you've sold to them, right? And then it comes to the valuation. You have to have a good idea about what that could be. And there are various ways that you can go about valuing a company. So one of those ways, and there's a lot, is a multiplier of your annual profits. So, for example, let's say that you have very consistent profits of $250,000 per year, and it's shown to be consistent. Let's say that in that industry, the 4-time multiplier would apply. So theoretically, you could sell your business for $1 million. Maybe it's 1.5, maybe it's 5. There's varying ways to be able to do that. We need to be able to figure out a range of expectations. And I'm going to cover this just in a little bit in step 5, as far as the 3 different ways that we can go about selling your business and exiting. Next, please. So once we've got an idea about how much your business is worth, well, let's just say, for example, that your business is worth $1.5 million. Fantastic. Well, we need to figure out what your needs are after retirement. You going fishing? You going hunting? You going taking the family on trips? Well, let's say while that's what your business is worth $1.5 million, your goals are at $3 million in today's dollars before we start counting for inflation. So we need to know what that gap is. Now, once we can identify what that gap is, we get a plan together. We need to be tax efficient. So you say, all right, I need $1.5 million in after-tax dollars. How much money do I need to be putting to the side? Am I using a Roth within my 401k or in my IRA so that I'm paying taxes now and growing my money tax-free? Am I using pre-tax and lowering my overall income, but then I'm kicking the can. I'm going to have to go pay those taxes later on down the line. Am I using after-tax dollars in a brokerage account where I'm taking advantage of long-term capital gains and tax loss harvesting and really trying to be able to use my CPA in a way that I can be able to mitigate all my taxes? So we put together how much you need to be putting to the side per year. We put together a rate of return that you're going to be needing to be able to reach that timeline. You got 15 years. You need $1.5 million in after-tax. Let's put together a game plan with what's expected for how much you're going to need to save. And I'm not going to come in and tell you, all right, put in $500 per month, I'm going to get you a 25% return. You're going to be set. No, a good plan, you have expectations in the low. You need to have a very low rate of return. And then when we get you a better rate of return, beautiful. Life is better. You can push up your timeline. You can retire earlier. That exit strategy just got put up. But we are not going to plan on you having the best rate of return in the world. We're going to plan around the negatives so that you're set up for success. Now comes the actual sale of your business. How does it go about? There's 3 ways that I see it that we can go about having an exit strategy for you and how you can go about getting paid for your business. And so let's cover those 3. First one is going to be an internal transfer. And so the idea to an internal transfer, you're selling to a family member, you're selling it to a friend, a business partner, someone that you know is going to continue the business the way that you see it. You're going to have continuity in your business. Your employees aren't going to see much change. You might get less proceeds from that sale because maybe you're trying to set your family member up for success. And so you might not be getting what you'd be getting in the open market. But your employees see continuity. The transaction cost might be a little bit lower because you're able to streamline things and not have tons of due diligence behind it and having people, well, I'll cover that in a second. The next one would be a sale to the highest bidder. You go to bizbuy.com and you put it up in multiples of your overall net profit per year. Well, there's going to be a lot more steps. It may not be in your timeline. You might be planning to sell your business in July. Well, that purchaser decided to back out because they couldn't put their funds together. Maybe you had so much due diligence that they want to be able to follow through that it takes months, maybe years, before you can finally close that process. Well, this is going to generally offer you a higher net proceeds. However, that person may not want to run your business the way that you run it. And so your business continuity can change a lot. And the way that it affects your employees is going to be a lot different than if it was an internal transfer. But again, you may end up with a little bit more higher proceeds from the exit of your business. What if you are your business? You are the key employee and everything runs through you, and you are excellent at what you do. Maybe you don't have time or the ability to be able to train someone to be as good as you are in what you do. Well, you may have assets. You may have a building that you're working with that you own. You may have a tractor. You may have several different types of equipment. Rather than being able to pass this on to someone that may not be able to do it, or you don't have time to train them to do it, you can liquidate those assets. This oftentimes ends up in a net lower proceeds, but generally gives you a lot more quick cash, right? And so when we're putting together that financial plan, we're going to be having different ideas of what you expect, a lower amount, a higher amount, so that you can be able to project, hey, if I do that liquidation, and I know I can get at least this, with the plan I have, am I set up for success? Am I putting enough money aside and paying myself enough to be able to have success beyond that? Or am I not set up for success? That's what we're going to be doing and figuring out. Now, I told you a good story as who, what, when, where, why, and how. And you'll notice that I went over what, why, I went over how and when. Seems like I'm missing something. The who and the where. The who is you and I, and my assistant Keaton. The where is at 2700 Rodeo Drive. And so, while we don't have time for questions right now, Keaton and I will be over there after everyone is done speaking. I'd love to be able to meet with you, talk to you about what your needs are, and how I might be able to help. Thank you.
Next, we have Martin Stietta, and he's with the Small Business Development Center, and he also houses out of the Greenville Chamber of Commerce, so if you ever need him to help you with your business, he is available. So here he is.
So it sucks for me to have to follow up with that. But much like Carson was saying earlier, it's very important to make sure you have an exit strategy and a final mission and vision for your business. The part that I get to help with is how to make that envision kind of come true. So the basic way to start that would be the cash flow system. For most businesses, they tend to confuse, or business owners, they tend to confuse the cash flow with the profits on there. And that's not the case. For a lot of businesses, your cash flow equation is going to be your revenue minus the cost of the goods, minus the fixed expenses, minus the operation expenses, the interest, the profits, the distributions, and things that you can add back into are any contributions that you make to your business. And then the net debt principles of any types of debt that your business takes on equals your net profit. That is a very different equation than your cash flow. For the cash flow system, I guess I should probably back down. You can tell I'm a nervous speaker, I'm sure. As far as the business owner is here, anyone have any idea of how to best describe a cash flow for your business? So the best way I can think of it is the cost that it takes to keep your business operating and keep the lights on. A lot of the time, things that you'll see is the revenue coming in, those fixed and variable expenses. Those are going to be ways that you can go ahead and try and figure out how to sustain your business and keep those doors open. Things that you also want to keep into account are going to be the things that will help you down the line. When Carson was talking about that last division, things that we will typically help try to think of is what can you control and what is out of your control. The things that you can control are your fixed costs. Your telephone bill and your internet is typically going to be a consistent item. Even things like your utilities, while they might vary month to month, as time goes on, they become more fixed costs because you can plan around them through your historicals. Those are going to be things that you can't account for. Things you might not be able to account for are going to be your marketing costs. If you are looking to expand your business, maybe you have higher accounting or legal costs that you take on that year, and you have to go back and look at your cash flow and see where you can give and take with it. So there are going to be cash flows typically categorized into three main activities. The first one is going to be your operating activities. The operating activities are your day-to-day items that you can kind of go ahead and go around. It's going to be what keeps the money coming in, sales, and the items that kind of eat up your profits on there, which is going to be your employees, your interest, your taxes, all the items that we had previously talked about before. The next section is going to be your investment activities. This is going to be a more passive way that you're going to want to get with Mr. Carson over here later on to see about growing more of that revenue or growing more of that income coming in for your business. So that hopefully in the future you might not have to be as reliant on just your net sales or your revenue or your gross sales and revenue. And then the last item is going to be your financing activities. And that can be a con. If you are going ahead, and again, going back to Carson, if you are talking to him about investing your money in a certain manner, well, let him and you create a plan that's going to be helping you passively grow and sometimes become a little bit more aggressive with that income that is going in, and see what your risk tolerance becomes on the activities that go out. So again, it brings us back to the financial planning systems of the equation for your net profits and how that does differ from your cash flow experiences. And it is something that I do think should be planned, not just with a financial planner, but with an accounting team as well as a attorney to help create that solid team for you. And definitely for all the insurance people here, they are going to be very helpful assets for you in being able to make sure that on the time for any increase in business growth or any type of chaos, since SBTC does also work with FEMA on things, insurance companies do help out a lot on saving that cost for that cash flow suffering. And like I said, we don't have time for questions today, but if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to help.
Next, I'd like to introduce Ms. Doolittle with G. Earls Tax Service.
Hello everyone, my name is Misty Little. I've been doing taxes for 27 years, pretty much at the Earls Tax Service. Today I want to talk about depreciating assets on your tax return, the good and the bad. This is a critical aspect of the tax planning. Whether you're running a business, a farm, or rental property, how you depreciate assets on your tax return, it's not just about following boring rules. It's about being smart with your cash. We're talking about those big purchases your business needs to keep things running, like new machines, software, vehicles, and me and the people with the vehicles. We're going to talk about that later. So basically, depreciation is an accounting trick to spread out the cost of a big purchase you buy for your business over its years of useful life. Think about it if you buy a delivery van. You're not going to just use it just 1 year. It's going to be useful for 5 years, at least. So instead of writing off the whole price tag all at once, you get to deduct little chunks at a time for each year. And it makes sense because the band is helping you earn income over several years and not just one. For tax purposes, the IRS has a system called MAKERS. It's a modified accelerated cost recovery system. It's not just one simple rule, but more like a whole playbook of how most physical things you bought after 1986 get depreciated. It sets up official useful for life for tons of different assets like computers, office furniture, and the aforementioned vehicles. And it tells you the fastest way to deduct them. Okay, so let's get into the awesome stuff. So why even bother with all this? Well, there are some pretty sweet reasons why businesses and even folks with rental properties absolutely love depreciation. First, foremost, it lowers your tax bill. So this is probably the biggest one. Depreciation is what they call a non-cash expense. That means that you're not actually spending the money when you write it down on your books, but it does make your report look makes your profits look much smaller. And yes, that means paying less in taxes. Like imagine your business makes $100,000 in profit, and you can deduct $20,000 off of depreciation. That's a big tax break. Now your taxable profit is only $80,000, and that's a power move for your tax rate. Let's keep more on your hard-earned cash. Deducting a piece of what that asset costs you every year, your business essentially recovers the money it's spent. This recovered cash isn't just theoretically, it's money that stays in your bank account instead of going to the IRS. And then you can use that recovered cash for other things like growing your business, upgrading old gear, paying off debt. It's like your assets are slowly paying you back. Again, better cash flow, as Martin was talking about, even though depreciation itself isn't actual cash going out, the fact that you're paying less in taxes directly means that your business has more money chilling in its account. This extra cash isn't tied up. It means more freedom for operations, growth, or just having a healthier bank account when unexpected stuff pops off. It gives your business some financial freedom. Extra deductions. So we have the 179 deduction, and that's been around for quite a while, but right now we have the bonus depreciation. But every year since 2023, it gets 20% less. So this, for 2025, it's 40%. So it's slowly going down, but you can use it for the cost of new or used property, and starting in the year you use it. It's similar to the 179, but it has different rules and can be applied to larger asset purchases. Like if you need a huge $1 million machine, it'd be nice to write off 40% right off the bat. Again, instant tax savings, the name of the game. So from your accounting angle, it makes sense. Imagine if you bought a building for $1 million, and if you didn't depreciate it on your books, it would just sit there and look like you had $1 million asset. But of course, it depreciates throughout the years, and it gets older and needs repairs. So the depreciation helps match the cost of the asset with the money it helps to make over time, giving you a truer picture of how profitable your business really is each year. It gives a more realistic view of your asset's worth. Okay, so it's not all rainbows and unicorns. Makers is a pain. While it is helpful, Maker's system can be super complex. You got to figure out the right class. If it's 5 years, 7 year, if it's 39 years on a commercial property or 27 and a half on a rental property. And then you've got to keep up with that. You got to keep up with how much you purchased it for. And then also, like with commercial properties, you got to keep up with the improvements and how you depreciate that as well. You really got to pay attention to those IRS rules. So it's not always intuitive, and getting the wrong class can really lead to some issues. Now, the big one is the depreciation recapture. So I have everybody, oh, I bought a new vehicle, and I use it for my business, and da-da-da-da. And so they want to write $50,000 off that year. Well, the thing about it is these days, back in the day, that would kind of work, but these days, we get a new vehicle probably 3 to 5 years, every 3 to 5 years. So If you appreciate that vehicle, you've got to recapture that vehicle whenever you sell it or trade it in. So you could possibly give yourself a gain later on down the road when you may actually need that depreciation. So I always recommend doing the vehicle mileage expense because it's 70 cents a mile. That way, we don't have to decide how much you use it personally, how much you use it business-wise, and you still get this 70 cents a mile deduction. And for realtors, that's a big deal. So, and insurance people that go out and look at properties and do things like that. So it looks different on the books. Yeah, depreciation lowers your taxable income, which is awesome, but it also makes asset value look smaller on your balance sheet. This can mess with your financial ratios, how your business looks to banks or investors who might be checking your numbers. A lower asset value could make your company appear less valuable on paper, even if it's still doing good. That's just a heads up. You literally have to keep really good records. When you bought it, how much it cost, how long it lasts, and what depreciation method you used, and how much you've already deducted for every single asset. If you get audited, the IRS wants to see every receipt, every calculation. Messing this up or not having good records can lead to a big problem with the IRS if they choose to audit you. Your depreciation seems to be, if it seems to be a little too wild or just plain wrong, it could get the IRS's attention. So playing by the rules is crucial to avoid penalties and those long drawn-out audit processes that I absolutely hate. Getting it wrong can mean owing more taxes, penalties, and interest, and no one wants that. So to sum it all up, depreciation assets on your return is a fantastic legal way to lower your taxable income and get your cash flow. This benefits, especially with those fast deductions like Section 179 and bonus depreciation, can be huge. But remember, the IRS has complex rules, so you need to be careful about all the details and that recapture depreciation. Since it can be a total maze, it's always, always, always a good idea to chat with a qualified tax pro. Me. There's no one's but to get with us, let's talk about what you're intending to purchase. Always towards the end of the year is a good idea to look at where you're at financially. Come talk to us. We do free consultations. We sit down and say, okay, your net profit's looking like this. Do you need a vehicle? Do you need to buy some machinery, equipment, so that we can lower that tax bill for you come January, February. Anyways, I appreciate y'all listening to me, and we'll be over here for questions afterwards. Thank y'all.
And lastly, we have Rich Cabinet with Cabinet Insurance Agency. I'm talking about building a wall around your assets with insurance.
Wouldn't you know they would save the insurance guy for last, right? Always got to have an insurance person and it seems like every event. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Everybody hear me good? Great. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about building a wall around your business and your assets. And I want you to, very quickly if you can, just kind of visualize in your mind a big city. Think about those old European cities, and one of the things that they used to have around the city was a wall, right? So if you've ever visited Europe, or you've been to Jerusalem, or you've been to any kind of major city over in that part of the world, you know that they used walls to surround their cities. So I just want you to visualize that, kind of get a picture in your mind as I talk about this, and visualize with me a walled city as we go through this presentation. All right, with all that said, let's kind of jump into how to build a wall around your assets using what I call the greatest tool to ever be created dollar for dollar, which happens to be insurance. It's every rich person in the world has a lot of it, depending on what kind it is, but it is a very important way that you can utilize. It's a tool that you can use to really make sure that your assets stay intact. And as you know, the purpose of insurance is really to transfer financial risk that you can't handle yourself to an insurance provider. It should only serve as a shield for when something bad happens that without a good insurance policy could really wipe you out financially. Like a hospital stay, for example, a building or a house fire, an unexpected injury or untimely death, or getting sued after an accident. Now, I do want to have kind of give you a key disclaimer here. Most personal auto and home policies exclude business and farming activities. I happen to specialize in farm and ranch. You can come by and visit with me. I'm going to have an outline so that if you want the outline of my presentation, come by my table and I'll give that to you. But I just want you to understand that if you're in the business world and you're using personal insurance, you could be having an issue when a claim comes up. Because a lot of those policies do exclude business and farming activities and that kind of thing. So you just got to make sure that you have the right policy for you. You don't want to find yourself in a bad situation when you do have a claim that you don't have the coverage. I've always believed that if you're in business, get a business policy. If you have any type of hobby or farming exposure, get a legit farm and ranch policy. Don't cut corners to save dollars. It could cost you everything in the long run. So you want to be very careful with that. All right, so with all that said, let's jump into how to build a wall around your assets using the greatest tool ever created, dollar for dollar. Now, I'm not an auctioneer. I look like one today, but I'm not. But I'm going to speak fast because I got a lot to cover with you. So let's talk about auto insurance. You need to have at least a $500,000 liability policy, at least a minimum. And then you need to have uninsured motorists on top of that to protect yourself. Interesting fact, 1 in 6 drivers in this region have no auto insurance. Okay, so you're driving around with insurance, but other people are not. So that means if they hit you or they take you out or whatever, if you don't have that uninsured motorist coverage, you're going to have to take care of that on your own. So it's very important to have that to protect yourself. Carry a higher comprehensive and collision deductible, like $1,000 or higher. That's a great way for you to lower the cost of your insurance. If you have any kind of magnetic branding, if you'll see my truck out there, American National, it's all branded. That's a commercial vehicle, okay? So make sure that you have a commercial policy for that. Don't try to put your commercial vehicle on a personal policy because you're going to run into problems if you end up having a claim. For example, when I do farm and ranch insurance, I can write all their farm vehicles on a commercial policy, which can actually really help them and save them money because you can write it on 12 months and it's usually rated differently than a personal policy. But if they have like a Honda Santa Fe or something like that they use personally, they need to keep that on a personal policy. They can't write that on a commercial policy. So you want to make sure that you know the difference between the two on that. But the auto insurance is really important if you're using your vehicle for your business. Next area is called a business owner policy or a BOP insurance policy. It's much broader than a basic commercial policy. It covers general liability, business activities, business interruption, products, machinery, legal fees, medical payments, libel, slander, inventory, equipment breakdown, all that kind of stuff. And it's really important for you, even if you run something in your own home, you should have some kind of a BOP type of a policy that at least covers you so that you're separating your personal from your business. Maybe you have a building that you own or lease. Make sure that valuation on that building is based on the market value and updated on a yearly basis. But I encourage you to do that on your regular home policy too, because we're seeing a lot of increases in people's values. And then if you don't have a meeting with your insurance agent for a long time, you may be behind the 8 ball with the valuation on your building, and that could be a really bad thing for you. So I would encourage you, make sure your auto insurance is good, and make sure you have a BOP policy as well. And then over the top of that, you can put what I call an umbrella policy. And that's an extra layer of protection for your business, your personal assets. It's very low cost for a very huge value. So you can get like $1 million umbrella, and you'd be surprised how little it's going to probably cost you for that compared to other types of insurance that you might have. So it's a really great thing to have. And this is I'm going to really emphasize this. If you have a pool in your backyard, if you have teen drivers, lots of animals on your property, like a lot of the people I see with farms and ranches, serve on boards, large staff, drive frequently, all over the place, you have to have an umbrella. It's critical. It can really be something that can help you if you ever get yourself in a situation where even you're not at fault, but you could be at fault, and it could actually cover you if you exhaust your underlying limits on your policy. So you need to have that umbrella. It's really a great way, a cheap way to be able to have that extra layer of protection. Next thing I want to talk to you about is workers' comp insurance. Now, that's not required in Texas, but I will tell you it's the #1 way to avoid employee lawsuits, okay? Having that. It's like a firewall around your business bank account. It's really what it is for business owners. And it can really, I mean, when you think about it, if you can let your staff know and your people that you work with know, hey, I've got something that if something ever happens to you, you're going to be taken care of. So, yeah, you may not be providing them health insurance, but by having workers' comp, if they get hurt, you will be providing them something that could really be beneficial to them. But it just will eliminate you having to deal with employees suing you and taking legal action. It covers medical, lost wages, workplace injuries, disability, and rehab. So it's a really great thing to have, and I'd encourage you to kind of think about that, especially if you have employees. Next one is this one is not talked about much, but it's really important, and it's called EPLI, and that stands for Employment Practices Liability Insurance. And this really focuses on past and present employees or prospective employees accusing you of wrong treatment. And nowadays, you kind of know how that goes. Culture has changed a lot. You say the wrong word, or you say something the wrong way to somebody, and you could be in really big trouble in a very quick amount of time, very short amount of time. So you want to make sure that any kind of acts of discrimination, termination issues, retaliation, all of that can be covered under what we call EPLI insurance. Now, how many independent insurance agents do we have in here? Just raise your hand. Okay, so everybody look around the room. These are the people that you probably want to talk to in regards to these commercial type policies that we're talking about, how to actually build that wall around your business and making sure that you're protecting your assets. EPLI also covers defense costs and damages. So it can be a really, really great insurance that can really help you to protect your assets. The next one is a no-brainer. It's life insurance. It's the most versatile way to protect your business, both inside and out of your business. It's the best value per dollar on protecting your family, your income, your business, and your debts. You can use it to offer benefits to key employees, executives, and to navigate transitions in ownership. And you can use it as a benefit to help keep good employees and increase retention. So if you're not utilizing life insurance personally or in your business, that is something you really need to do some research and study on, because it can be one of the most valuable tools that you use in your business, not only to protect yourself and to keep everything moving forward, but also to offer as a great benefit to your employees. So that is a really great way to build a wall around your business and your assets. The next one is the one that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's the one that's actually probably used even more so than life insurance, and that's disability income insurance. They have short-term and long-term options, but I believe it's the most overlooked protection by most people between the ages of 20 and 50. You have a greater chance of a physical disability during that age frame than actually dying, okay? So 1 in 7 people will be impacted by a disability lasting 5 years or longer before the age of 65. So that is something that you think about it. If you're running your business and everything's moving along and all of a sudden you get in a car accident and you have a disability where maybe you can't walk anymore, or you've gone blind, whatever it is, but it's going to impact your business significantly and also your income, and you will not have that income coming in anymore because you're not going to be running it. So disability income could be a really great way to put that wall around your assets in your business. Health insurance, how many people in here offer health insurance? Raise your hand. Okay, so these are the people that you want to pay attention to. Business people have a tendency to suffer from cardiovascular disease more than most people. stress-related ailments, diabetes, obesity. It's just because of what we do, right? I mean, we're in stress, anxiety things, which makes us emotionally eat what we shouldn't eat, and you know, it goes in all kinds of directions, right? But the bottom line is that we want to make sure that we have some kind of health insurance, at least a major medical policy to avoid catastrophic loss or lose everything. And then there's also those, what we call the medical sharing plans. I don't know how many of you have heard of those medical sharing plans, okay? Those, how many of you offer medical sharing plans in here, okay? Got a couple? One at least? Okay, please see those people, because those can be a great way to at least get some coverage so that if you have something major happen, you're gonna be putting that wall around your assets. The next one is long-term care insurance. This one is not talked about very much either. It's an individual policy, and you can put this actually on a life insurance policy. So you can write a rider on your life insurance for long-term care facility, and they can then use, if you end up going into a facility, you can use your life insurance benefits to be able to help with that. So that's something to think about too when you're looking at life insurance. But in the case of a major health event and you require more serious care in a facility or healthcare worker at a home, having long-term care insurance can be a real big blessing. The average stay today in a facility over 3 years can be as high as $250,000. So just ask yourself today, do you have $250,000 sitting around that you can just use over the next 3 years? If you don't, insurance could be a great way to help with that, all right? And then I just want to end with the kind of the newest form of insurance. It's called cyber and identity theft protection. We actually offer this now on all of our farm and ranch policies with American National, so that you can have coverage for cyber attacks, extortion, fraud, data breach, cyberbullying, and social media income interruption, which for a lot of people that's a thing now. So it provides you against financial loss, privacy being compromised, and your reputation. So, and security risks. So that's something too to be looking into. That's going to become more and more of a need. As we kind of wrap up here, I'm at 13:50, so I'm trying to do a very good job keeping on time. I just wanted to add something that has been a major game changer for me as a business owner, and that's having a bookkeeper and an accountant. Having both of those will do wonders for your bottom line. It'll really help you to be able to keep track of numbers, cash flow, as Martin was talking about, your revenue, all of those things. Every month I get a P&L. I know exactly where I'm at. That's the kind of way that you have to run your business, because if you do want to sell it eventually, you got to be strong. You got to be really strong and healthy financially, so that people want to buy your business. They're going to offer you the best multiplier and all of those kind of things. So I just wanted to throw that in, because I mean, to this day, I can't imagine running my business without a bookkeeper and an accountant. They both are just amazing, and really helped me a lot. So there you have it. That's how you build a wall around your business and assets, using the greatest tool ever created, dollar for dollar, insurance. There you go.
So thanks to everyone who spoke today. We greatly appreciate it. I want to remind you that we have a business after hours at Uptown Forum in 2 weeks. So it's going to be July 19th. We'd love for you to come out and enjoy Brothers Cafe. Their food is marvelous, and we'd love to see you there. I also want to remind you, if you're a new member and you were introduced today, that we have plaques for you, or we can take a picture. And so I just want to wish everyone an amazing day. Thank you.